So hello and welcome from Hyperledger Global Forum in Dublin. I'm delighted to be joined by Matt Nelson from Consensus. Hello, Matt.
Hey, how are you doing?
Matt, could you introduce your role at Consensus, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a product manager that works on Hyperledger Besu. So on the day-to-day, I coordinate across businesses, users, developers, internal teams to try to really get the best out of the technology and make sure that we're prioritizing what needs to get done.
Now, Matt, we're going to talk about a couple of things today, but the real thing we're going to talk about is the merge and Besu. So first of all, what is enterprise participation in public networks? Maybe just explain what that means for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that there was initially with cryptocurrency and with public blockchains, a lot of hesitation by enterprise to get involved for a number of very good reasons. But I think that since these networks launched many, many years ago, there's been a lot of good progress on things like privacy, protections, cybersecurity and bugs, and really understanding what kind of value is going to be exchanged on these networks. The use cases have evolved, of course. So to me, enterprise participation is really about understanding what can businesses get out of this? How can they change the way that they're doing business today and kind of innovate in a way that is novel to the technology? Because previously, there were only a certain number of ways to do things. There were middlemen or very prescriptive processes. And I think that with blockchain technology, there's a ton of new paradigms that are really inaccessible and need a lot of thinking and good work to get to where they need to be. So for me, this participation is about enterprises not necessarily throwing everything that they have onto the blockchain, but it's about experimenting, it's about getting involved, it's about understanding how they might grow or change their business, not necessarily let themselves get disrupted by this technology. Because I think that those that don't evolve will get disrupted, and it's really about dipping the toes in, starting slow, being careful, but really accessing that kind of innovative change potential through blockchain.
So let's explore a little bit more detail now. So why is it important for these firms to be on the public chain and participate that way?
Yeah, well, there are a number of reasons. One is that it's outright rewarding. The staking rewards on many different kinds of public networks are pretty high. There's good return on investment. I welcome you all to go do your own research on what those numbers are. But second of all, I think that, again, more and more users, as they come online, they come into the Web3 space, are going to be working on public networks. Their first experience with blockchain might be buying an NFT, or it might be trading some cryptocurrency. It's not necessarily going to be on some of these private consortium-based networks, which are traditionally kind of B2B. So I think that a lot of the talk and energy around blockchain is in the public networks. And I think it's good for enterprises to understand not only the kind of private consortium side of it, but the public network side of it, as that becomes more and more prevalent. And honestly, as we see these things act more and more like the internet, where there's an exchange of value as much as there was an exchange of information before it.
So how will it work? How will the merge insist folk to further leverage business on the Hyperledger Besu? How is all that going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Besu is one of the kind of chief pieces of technology that lets you access Ethereum mainnet among other networks. The merge is evolving Ethereum mainnet to be much, much more carbon efficient, a 99.95% reduction of emissions. So that's taking something that's about the size of Finland and bringing it down much, much, much lower. Really, for businesses and enterprises, what this means is that there is a lot more of a kind of open for business mentality when using public Ethereum networks. You don't have to worry about the negative press, the unsustainable practices of the network, and there's a whole bunch of other benefits around the security of the network, the decentralization of the network, and a bunch of good factors that the merge will take advantage of to really, I think, bring this kind of more mainstream focus for this technology that was previously not only inaccessible but very kind of negative for the planet.
So look, if we bring all this together for one final question, Matt, so Ethereum, Hyperledger, technology, everything that's happening in my life, if there's one particular thing that's caught your eye with a project this year, what would it be?
Oh man, well, since we've been so heads down on the merge with the Besu team, what's really exciting me about these public networks in general is that there is kind of a proliferation of them, but they're all kind of working together. So I think that these Cross-chain technologies are really evolving and making things much more accessible. So, Besu, I think, will start to sit in the middle of that a lot more and help you connect with many different types of digital ledger technologies and many different types of blockchains. But honestly, what excites me is that all these things are kind of learning to talk to each other. So no matter where your users are, no matter where your business is, you'll be able to find something that works for you. And we hope that Besu can enable the infrastructure that makes it all work together.
Amazing. I've just one final question. If you wanted to share the value that you've got from being part of a Hyperledger global community, what would you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, it's being able to work with contributors from all over the world, not being beholden to any one time zone or one team. And I love that our community consistently challenges what we're doing. I think that it's good to not have a community-led project be spearheaded by specific individuals so that we get a breadth of ideas, a breadth of approaches, and also because it forces us to keep Besu as an open technology, right? And like I mentioned, with things like multi-chain, cross-chain, all that good stuff, having a broad community and allows us to serve all of those different folks, as opposed to, for example, if just Consensus were to work on this, then we might miss out on some of those other chains, we might miss out on some of those other opportunities, but we have such a breadth of folks that you see Hyperledger Besu used in Hedera Hashgraph, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum Mainnet, private networks, and that's really enabled by having such a great community around these developers with Hyperledger.
Matt, exciting times. Enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you very much for coming and spending some time with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.